once praying for this position. Thank you, God, for an answered prayer. Thank you, God, for gracing me with something that you didn't even ask for that. You gotta be a participant. You gotta be competitive. You got to be in the mix. You gotta be in the money. The conversation was so juicy yesterday, wasn't it? That conversation was really good yesterday, huh, girl? Girl, okay, and I see you came back for part 2. I see you came back for some more. Okay, let me go ahead and cut to the chase with today's conversation because, baby girl, we do not have a lot of time. The boys are here, so if you see them running through here, then baby, you know, please excuse me, but if you're a mama, then you understand. If you're new here and you were not with us yesterday, my name is Bianca. I am a mommy of 2. I have 2 little boys, Jason, Tate. Their ages 2 and 4. I am a fitness enthusiast. I am the founder of Beasting Fitness. Those details will be in the description box, girl, and I'm so glad to have you here. Also, I am a corporate professional, young professional, in my 30s. I'm actually 30 years old, and that is what this series is all about. You know, I just sat back and thought, you know, what do I have to tell the girls? I can put the girls up on game as it pertains to weight loss. I can put the girls up on game as it pertains to, you know, picking yourself back up, self-esteem. Made that a series. And I can also pour into the girls from a corporate professional standpoint. And that is what this series is about. So if those first 2 series sounded very interesting to you, then, you know, be sure to check some of the other videos that may be linked down in the description box. But girl, here today to give you more corporate tea, literally. So yesterday, what did we talk about? Yesterday we talked about, you know, dancing around and playing that datey, flirty game, you know, with, you know, your place of employment or, you know, all these agencies. And we talked about, here's Chase. Huh? I know what that Sprite tastes like. Is that Sprite good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you need a cup for your Sprite? Mm-hmm. Did you eat your green beans?
Green beans are good.
Those green beans were good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that is what life consists of now, okay? But what we were talking about yesterday was, you know, just all of the different phases, you know, as it pertains to, you know, hold on. Okay, girls, so I'm definitely gonna have to make this a quick video because Jace is crying and, you know, we decided to let the kids stay home from school today because it's Christmas Eve, but girl, I just had to give you this information. So we talked about this little dating dancing game that the employers play with you, just a space of gray area, you know, as it pertains to being a contract worker, you know, being paid, you know, small dollar amounts, having to split that with your agency, your contract agency, and little different tips and tricks that you can do to really prove yourself while you're in that stage, to really prove that you are a valuable, you know, worker, that you have value to add, that you have significant contributions, you know, on the job, and really kind of making those connections and bridging the gaps, identifying, you know, solutions or beginning to, right? More so just putting yourself in a place, in a position to raise your hand and say, hey, I'll take that, you can give that to me, I'll do that, you know, kind of aligning yourself with some of the important responsibilities and tasks that your particular company, department, or that job role may have to offer. So girl, that is all the things that we talked about in part 1 of yesterday. And today, here we are, here I am again, talking to you guys about part 2. Let's talk. You just got hired on permanent, right? And we talked about, this is probably all of our dreams, you know, right after undergrad. Let's just say you were not in the 4.0 plus club, right? But you still had a really good GPA. You still had a 3.0 and above, right? And you came out of college and you were really thinking about, you know, or really thinking that you were gonna be making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, you know, immediately right after college. And girl, that did not happen to you, okay? So that's all of that was wrapped up in part 1. But let's just say, girl, you really proved yourself. You really put your best foot forward. You really, you know, aligned yourself and built some of those relationships. And, you know, they deemed you as a valuable asset or someone who really could make more significant contributions to the organization or the firm, right? So they decided to hire you on, okay? So now you're permanent. What does that look like? What does that look like for you? So now, instead of, not getting paid while you were not at work, right? Because when you're a contract worker, contingent upon, the agency, the contract, the organization, you may or may not get paid, have paid time off, paid holidays, you may have benefits, you may not have benefits, you may have benefits through the contract agency, but that agency may not have a lot of paid time off or vacation days, right? So therefore, if you're not at work, you're not getting paid. But now, since you are a permanent employee of the actual organization, baby, you've wiped your hands away with the contract agency, you're a full-time employee, your salary, you have benefits, right? So you have your 401k or your retirement plan, you have a health savings account, if that's what you opt in for, right? So now if you have kids, you guys can have dental insurance, vision insurance, right? Building up to your Social Security. And I know that a lot of that sounds really prehistoric and dated in today's time, especially when everybody's just really concerned about fast money, fast cash, baby, get into the bag. It's all about the bag. But just really furthering the conversation along, how does it make you feel that now that you have, paid time off? How does it make you feel, even if you've been on the job as a permanent employee now for several years? How does that make you feel to have paid time off, man? I remember when I first got paid time off, girl, I didn't even know what to do. The feeling of being able to take off of work, knowing that, you're still not gonna miss a day, or miss a day's pay when you do receive your direct deposit. Knowing that, I can take off today to take my kids to the dentist, to take my kids, to Chuck E. Cheese, or just have time to, spend with myself, and really pour into myself that day and really give my mental a break. But that I'm not gonna miss a day's worth of pay. Like, all of that is really just such a blessing. You just really have to just stop and thank God and say, thank you, God, for this opportunity. Thank you, God, because I was once praying for this position. Thank you, God, because, for an answered prayer. Thank you, God, for, your grace, for gracing me with something that, I don't know, probably you didn't even ask for that, right? So now you're a permanent employee and, you're really putting your best foot forward and you have paid time off, and now you're able to take those days off to pour into yourself or to handle some business, girl, to go get a massage, baby, or to just spend that day with your kids or whatever it is. That is so great, guys. And, we can really not overlook that. Like, even though I'm creating content, I really do thank God that I have, or that I'm in a situation where I can take off, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing with this time, but I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I'm being a mom, I'm working out after this, I'm about to prepare us some lunch, baby, all the things that I'm sitting here getting to spend some time with you guys, sipping on my green tea while I'm helping to balance my hormones, okay? Baby, all of that is a blessing, and it's all about the little things. So we've proven that we can at least hold our weight on the job, right? So you're a permanent employee, you're hired on, you're either considered entry level or junior, contingent upon, the HR hierarchy or the structure of the company. You're either entry level, you're junior, you're whatever, right? And so all while you were a contract worker, you were proving yourself, you were proving your worth, and you've done that, right? So you've at least proven that you can complete your work on time, right? You can meet the SLA, you can, make sure that your work is turned in by the end of the month, respond to customer inquiries, or, talk to customers, you're able to, reconcile an account, you're able to juggle multiple accounts, you're able to be customer facing, you're able to work collaboratively with other internal groups or whatever it is. I literally think that as soon as I moved the angle in the office, then the sun went away, girl. I don't know what that is about, but back to what we were talking about. So, you've at least proven that you could, add value, within your organization. You've started to put yourself out there. You've started to build rapport with other, account managers, FAs, financial assistants, other, groups, other supervisors, right? You're kind of bubbing elbows, you're networking a little bit. You're saying, hey, my name is Becky, whatever it is. You're raising your hand and you have already aligned yourself with some of those more complex responsibilities within the job role. The next piece of advice that I have to recommend to you guys is begin learning the systems, okay? So let's sip tea for that. You know, what systems do you guys use? What systems do you guys use to calculate? What systems do you guys use to forecast, to reconcile, to research, to compile, to process, to upload, to retrieve, to extract, to send? You know, whatever it is, what are those systems? So first things first, what are the systems? How many systems are there? Do the systems talk to one another? Are these older legacy systems that are soon to be obsolete? And maybe you guys are migrating to, you know, new, more advanced, more efficient systems, right? You know, really raising your hand to jump in on the project and working side by side with some of those developers, some of those engineers, some of those software gurus, right? That can, if you have a question, they're able to give you the answer to that question and let you know why this particular system may not work like it used to, but instead it does this, right? Or, you know, this is how we used to process something in the older system, and this is what that's going to look like going forward. Could you please test that? You guys begin to like migrate systems or move off of one older platform into another platform, that creates opportunity. That creates for you to learn the similarities, the differences, and, you know, any errors, like the uniqueness between the systems, and also, you know, how are they alike, the commonalities. Combining the systems, right? You know, oftentimes there are going to be errors, right? Because a lot of the times the systems are only designed, you know, or created and are as intelligent as the person that wrote the program or designed the program, right? So, and those are humans. I already talked about the importance of taking notes, right? Because when people are talking, nobody's wasting their time. When people are talking, your note taking could literally be you being proactive, you getting ahead of the game, you know, taking initiative, you doing your own due diligence to create some sort of standard operating procedure, SOP, as we all know it to be, that someone else could possibly use or add to, right? Also, for you to be able to refer to, for future instances, being able to refer back to your notes. Baby, I always took notes, and I was always able to refer back to my notes, and I always had a little tidbit or a little sprinkle to offer when I was, you know, sitting at the table with someone, because that's the worst thing. The worst thing to do is just be sitting at the table, sitting in a meeting room, sitting, and you don't have anything to offer. You're just on mute. You don't know nothing. You ain't took no notes. You don't have no notes to refer to. You don't have anything. You're not able to participate. You're not a participant at the table, okay? That's the worst place that you want to be in. Even if you just flip your notes just to reiterate something that was already said, not being redundant more so, or just being able to just list off what we already know and what we already covered. So guys, this is what we learned. This is the go live date. This is when we're looking to integrate. These are some of the things that we can probably expect to go wrong. These are some of the projections or forecasts that we're thinking about, right? The brainstorm about how we could possibly get ahead of that. This is right. So this is all just information, probably like we're doing right now, of somebody just talking. And a lot of the problem that I identify with a lot of, you know, people that are entry level or have just gotten hired into a job is they don't know what's important and what to write down. And baby, that was a foundational skill that we learned in reading comprehension back in the early 2000s. So I guess they're not teaching that anymore, but you know, here's a tip. When you don't know what to write, when you don't know what to put in your notes, baby, write everything. Write everything that the person is saying, because one, this is information that is just not common knowledge to you. You're not just gonna wake up today or tomorrow or yesterday and just have came up with this information or just thought about this information on your own. So if somebody is saying something that is not, you know, common knowledge to you, or that you did not think about yourself, baby, write it down, okay? Type it out. I am very old school, so I still write all of my notes, but if I need to add like visuals of a snippet of a system or a particular portion of what we're talking about, then I'll just snip that, put it in my Word document, and type up what, you know, we were talking about. Even if that does or does not make sense as far as it being a complete sentence, these are just freehand notes, just so that you have something tangible that you're able to, you know, weigh in on, comment on, or about while you're sitting at the table, baby. You gotta be a participant. You gotta be competitive. You got to be in the mix. You gotta be in the money. You cannot be sitting over here twiddling your thumbs, trying to scroll on your phone and see what's happening on Instagram while you have just been hired on and, you know, you've just become permanent, baby. You have just got your little toes wet, right? So that we have still got so much more to go, and that's the good thing about it. There's still so much more to learn, so much more many areas that we can grow and sharpen our skill set. So let's get into it. While we were still talking about, you know, the different systems, commonalities, the differences, one thing that I also recommend that you learn is the different frequencies, right? So contingent upon what type of work that you do, you know, how often is my, you know, manager going to need this forecasted report? Is he going to need it monthly? Is he going to need it quarterly? Is he going to need it 2 times a month? Is he going to need it, you know, ad hoc? What are the frequencies? So if you, I don't know, work like in the billing department and you guys generated invoices, what are the frequency of the invoices? Like, what is the allowance? What can the system handle? That's another important kind of like sub bullet point to kind of note. The allowances. What does this particular entity allow? What can it handle versus this one? What are the similarities and what are the differences? And I would, you know, probably spend a little bit of time, you know, familiarizing myself with the commonalities that they had. You know, is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it semi-annually? You know, is this happening every single day? Or how often is the production happening, right? And so you can just spend a few moments there kind of honing in on that. Again, writing your notes. Again, going home that day to spend some time looking back over your notes. If you have an assigned responsibility or if you have an assigned task, you know, how do your notes, right? So taking the time to sit on the job or, you know, after the job to sit and think about, connect the dots, right? This is us connecting the dots. We're literally thinking. And I think that we don't think about that enough, right? So now, baby, you are getting paid to think, right? The mind is a valuable asset, right? Reading is fundamental. Be studious. You just got out of college. That is an advantage that we have over a lot of, you know, other coworkers who may be older than us or who have been, you know, out or post-grad for a number of years, baby. We are still competitive. We still know how to study. Let's put our best foot forward, right? And spend a few extra moments connecting the dots between what somebody said in a meeting versus what you wrote down in your notes versus what you actually experience on a day-to-day basis, and how does that apply to your day-to-day, right? That is a really good place to start, guys. Oh, girl, I am hooking y'all up, baby. I am giving you the tea. I am giving you the tea because, baby, one thing about me, let me tell you, like I told y'all in part 1, I wish I would have taken myself seriously. I wish I would have taken my job and my role serious earlier on, right? Because it was giving that I wanted to scroll through my phone, that I was, you know, young, kind of immature, not really having a lot of corporate experience, even though, you know, I was an insurance agent for a hot little minute, okay? Even though I did work at a financial company, you know, prior to for a hot little minute, okay? You know, so I really wish that I was also giving off the professional aura of, you know, hey, I'm here for a reason. I take my job and my role very seriously. I have something to prove. I have value to add. I know how to do this work, and I can, you know, have quality deliverables. A lot of, you know, where we also may want to put our emphasis or put some of our time is, you know, who are the teams that we need to work with, right? Who are the people that are getting this done? One thing that I did do well, right? Because I'm always giving you guys what I did well and what I wish that I would have done a little bit better. So one, you know, attribute that I did do well was becoming friends with the production people, right? The engineers, the software developers, the business analysts, right? Those type of people, the people that were building the system, working in the system every single day. They were, writing scripts. They knew the SQL codes. They knew all of that. It was like one or two of them that I really, especially one that I really had a very good working relationship with. And I still do have a very good working relationship with this individual. Still to this day, I show this individual much respect, as they do me, right? Because as I developed in my career, as I grew, as I got better, I was learning things as well about what we did that was, very niche experiences to our individual department, our individual group. And so, when that individual had a question about what they experienced and what they did on an everyday basis in the system, and wanted to know how would that play out and how would that, begin to affect me on my everyday day to day, I was able to weigh in on that. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, kind of more so into the senior role, but even before you move into a senior role, you have to be able to demonstrate that you can operate as a senior for several months or up to a year, that proven demonstration that you qualified to be promoted. But girl, that is in part 3, and we ain't there yet, baby. We just got hired in on the job. You need to be making really good working relationships with the individuals who are in the system. And we kind of talked about this, yesterday, because whatever, if there's an error, if something goes wrong, if something needs to be fixed, right? You need to pick that person's brain just enough and make sure you write it down in your notes, or make sure you have your typed notes. You need to pick that individual's brain just enough to know a little bit about how that person solved that issue that time that you brought it to them, right? And the next time you bring an issue to them, what's the issue? How did that person resolve it? Write it down, and that way next time how that issue is going to be resolved or how it should be resolved. And once you get to doing that like 3, 4, or 5 times, then baby, now you got the playbook. Now you got a whole playbook of what caused the issue, how to fix it, what group is responsible for fixing it, and how to prevent it. And that is what I got really good at. So then in a sense, it became like, oh, I am now expert knowledge, or have expert knowledge, or at least advanced to proficient knowledge about how the system works. And that was very integral, while I was, continuing to work towards a promoted position, also continuing to grow within my current role and responsibility, just being a hired permanent employee. All right, so one last thing before we wrap up, because the battery is about to die, and I am so happy and I think about anything that I would rather be doing right now in this moment besides what I'm doing, which is being a mom, giving the girls gems, talking to you guys about how we can elevate, in our corporate professional lives, baby, because honestly, this is real life, and in real life, people have, real life jobs, because not everybody's going to be a content creator. Not everybody wants to be a content creator, and these are still, everyday skills that an individual needs to have, harbor, and, have within their, reach and grasp, whether that's content, digital, whether that's in real life, tangible, 9 to 5, okay? Because baby, it's the best of both worlds over here. One thing that I did also want to recommend is double checking your work. We are still new, okay? We come from more of a background, undergrad, where you do your work, you submit your work, and you may double check it, you may not, but you turn it in to get a grade. And I think that there was just a level of comfort that undergrad brings that you do not get in the real world. I mean, did I turn in work that, was incorrect sometimes? Yes. Was it really, really, really incorrect? No. But even just with the, anomalies here and there, or the oversights here and there, my director was not happy about it, girl. Like, matter of fact, they looking at 1 or 2 things and they're like, here's the back, do it again. I seen 1 or 2 things that are wrong, so there's probably other stuff that's wrong, go do it again, right? So what I started to get really good at was double checking my work. taking the 5 to 10 to 15 extra minutes. I wasn't the individual that turned my work in like, super ahead of time, or the first person to turn my work in, or, I wasn't speeding through stuff. I took the time, I took the extra 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, or however long it took, so that I went through and basically double checked my work. So whether that took me, going through it again with a fine tooth comb all the way from point A to point G, letter A to letter G, that's exactly what I did. And, I just made sure that the work that I was turning in was, of quality. I made sure that it was as accurate as possible. And, I just kept doing that, and I did that with everything. And it got to the point where, whatever it was that I turned in, at that point, if, my manager or director had a question, it was basically based upon, after the fact, right? So here's my work, here's the report, okay, good work, and where do we go from here, right? So, and that's a really good place to be in. I also noticed with a lot of individuals who don't have a lot of, or an extensive, corporate work experience. I mean, I'm only 7 years in the game, but what I, have noticed was those individuals don't really know how to manage their time, and they don't really know how to structure their day. So that's something I can help you with, girl. And every workday looks different. Every department, every company, every job role is different. But one thing that I do recommend that's kind of just like, an overarching umbrella that could help a lot of individuals. If you've just graduated, if you're post-grad, or whatever, and this is kind of pretty much your first or second real job opportunity, corporate job opportunity, you can always structure your day. Sorry, Tatum's in the back. You can always structure your day by starting out reading your emails, okay? So you log in, you clock in, whatever it is, you sit down at your desk, you spend 30 to 40 minutes to an hour, contingent upon, how many emails, the volume of emails that you're receiving. It can easily take me 1 hour, 2 hours to just look through emails, right, and respond. But you always want to start there, right? Because you always want to make sure that you are responding to inquiries that you are, whether that's customer facing, or whether that's, internal, responding to other, departments and teams that work, within, the same company. Making sure that you are doing your due diligence and really, like I said, responding to those emails and getting the answers out. That's how the work keeps flowing, right? Because one team and department may be waiting on you, or waiting on an answer for something that you're assigned, and that answer may be holding up the development process for whatever is next. So you always want to make sure that you're prompt with your responses, and that you're responding in a timely manner. Every SLA is different, but I would say that a good rule of thumb is that you're not taking more than 2 business days to respond to an inquiry. Because girl, why are you taking more 2 business days to respond to an email? You seen the email, okay? Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't like people that take too long to respond to my emails. So 2 business days, if you're in office, if you're not out of office on vacation, or for anything for that sort of type of reason, respond to the email timely, okay? Okay, after you've responded to the email, so at this point you are an hour into your workday, you're an hour 15, hour 30 minutes into your workday. That's really good time. That means that you spend quality time answering your emails. That means that you are helping to push the work along. Like, nobody's waiting on you. The ball is not in your court. You've now pushed the ball into someone else's court, and we'll leave that up to them. After you've kind of done that, then you have to think about, okay, well, do I have anything that's pressing? Do I have anything that has a priority deadline? Or am I working on any special projects? Am I working on, any testing or any implementation phases or responsibilities that, need my immediate attention? Then I would spend the necessary time there, because each task is gonna look different. I would spend the necessary time there doing whatever that is needed. Do I have a really messy account that I need to reconcile? Is there a meeting call that I need to jump on with, with internal teams, internal groups, or even, external customers? So that'll consume another bulk of your day. After that, then what is it that I have to do on a day-to-day basis that is you know, pretty much just like my normal work, right? And so that's kind of like a good balanced blueprint to work from, because there are always going to be things that come ad hoc, and what you have to get better at as, you know, a new professional. And I would love to hear some of you all's tips and tricks, pro tips. Feel free to comment down below in the comments. How do you structure your day? So when you first log into work and you have a desk job, a computer job, 9 to 5, you're working customer service, you work in AR, AP, you know, whatever that is, you are cybersecurity, you're a software developer. How do you structure your day? Girl, I'm interested. But that's pretty much it, guys, to be honest with you, for part 2. I think that that's a good place to kind of wrap up for today, and plus my kids need me. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. It tells YouTube that this is a really good video, and it helps me as well to build my community and talk to you guys. Please feel free to leave a comment so that I know other topics that you guys want me to delve into and discuss with you guys. I am really happy to be here. I am always so excited to talk to you, girl. Again, you know, thank you so much. And girl, I think that's a wrap for today, and I hope you stay tuned for part 3. Bye, guys.